now. You don't see many of these. 90-yard runs for a touchdown.
Man, he came out the wide.
He did.
I think it's a linebacker chasing.
Yeah.
He said, "What am I doing chasing? Where's the other guys?"
That's like when Gusty Yearout ran that fumble back, and you started chasing him, and you said Richard Trapp came up by, and you said, "Go get him, Dickie."
Yeah, Trapp was running by me so fast. I said, "Go get him."
But
he couldn't catch him.
Another Dooley Noted podcast comes to you from the Coach's Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill in Celebration Point. Okay, and welcome into another Dooley Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging, coming to you from the Meldon Law Gator Studios here at Steve Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. And, of course, Coach Spurrier will be on with us in a little bit. Robbie Andrew will join us for Yes, No Way, or Maybe. And I did want to tell you that on Thursday, Chris Doring's going to join us. I know he's doing a lot of shows now. I think he did Steve Russell's today, but he's going to do ours Thursday. And now his voice is back. We can talk to him after being in San Antonio. I had a great weekend. The weather was unbelievable. First time I've ever been through a hailstorm. Have you ever been through one, Zach?
I haven't.
I never had been in a hailstorm, and it was only in one area of town.
Yeah.
And it was just violent, and it was weird. It was scary, to be honest with you. That was the only negative of the whole weekend. I really enjoyed – I totally vegged out Sunday and watched Masters all day. I mean, from the time it came on ESPN Plus until the time they signed off. It was a lot of fun. We'll get to that in just a minute. It is time to do our Royal Blues starting five. It is brought to you, as always, by Randy Royal over at Royal Blue. We appreciate him. Let's start off with number one on our Royal Blues starting five is the spring game and what we saw over there. Look, this is a good team. Is it a good enough team to be considered a dark horse? Well, we'll see. And I'm talking about the playoffs. But they've got a lot of talent on this team, and it's just a matter of how they put it together. It's a matter of what, coaching changes have been made, all that and more. But, that wide receiver room is a legit wide receiver room, and that running back room is – I said this in my back nine column, and I may have overstated it. I think it's the best running back and wide receiver room combination they've had since 96. 96 was Fred, Eli Williams, and Terry Jackson in the backfield. And, of course, Ike, Riddell, Kwesi, Travis McGriff. I mean, they had Nafis Kareem was on that team. There was a bunch. Anyway, I think this room may be better as a wide receiver room. Now, again, a lot of these guys haven't done anything because they've done something in the spring game or have not kind of lived up to what they hope. I think Aid Mizell will be a guy who does that this year. But anyway, just watching these guys in person and finally being able to talk about that was a relief for me. Because I feel like I'm a little bit more schooled on it. And I tell you who I really like is Duke Clark on that as a running back and a guy who comes out of the backfield to catch the ball, really good. A lot of young, good players on this team, a lot of freshmen who should be in high school right now, but they're out there playing ball, and they're doing good. It was a really nice day. It was just a perfect day, and It worked out really well with all the things that happened. I didn't see any injuries, most of the injuries. And again, I don't want to – I was blown away by the offense and how good the offense played and how good the players are on offense. And we finally got to see that. But I do know that the defense was missing a ton of guys, and including Pup Howard, who's, a big-time linebacker. Miles Graham did play and I think he led both teams in tackles. He's going to be a force this year. There's no doubt about it. This is going to be a really good team. I mean, they're talking about some of these players in ridiculous hyperbole, to be honest with you. And I'm talking about people who have talked to me about it. Talking to Shane, talking to Sean Kelly, guys who've seen more than one practice. And they've really got some talented guys on this team. Dallas Wilson, they were saying, I think Eli coached him in high school. He said, and he told him, Shane said this on the radio, so I know I can repeat it, that he's a combination of Riddell, Ike, and Quez. And I'm like, okay, we'll take that. This team's going to have a chance to be really good, and especially on offense. All right, let's get to – oh, and I did want to mention the celebration before I get to number 2. The celebration, I was a little bit leery of when I saw these folding chairs coming out there. Is this going to be done right? It feels kind of, you know, low, I don't want to say low class. It just feels kind of not what these guys deserve. But the ceremony and everything that they did was perfect. Couldn't have been better. And I still go with I'd rather have 50,000 people cheering for me than 10,000. And, you know, it's what they decided to do. And that's what they did it for a reason. People came to that game that probably weren't coming to that game. They wanted to get more people in there, sell more Cokes and stuff like that. Anyway, it was a really cool celebration. And Walter, of course, got the biggest cheers. And I will say this. I don't get you people all the time. You know that. You and I have fights. But you booed the athletic director. The athletic director brought you a guy you'd never heard of before. And in the third year, won a national title. The athletic director has a football coach that you've got a better roster than you've had in a long time, and you feel pretty good about it, and you like the way the season ended. Okay, I get that it hasn't been all gravy with him. No doubt about it. He's got something to prove this year. You booed the guy who brought I Won't Back Down to University of Florida as a tradition, which is now the biggest tradition in all of college sports. Why are you booing him? You booing him for Cam Newbauer, leaving him out there too long? Come on, guys. If there was ever a day to cheer Scott Strickland, it would have been Saturday. But hey, look, some of you don't forget easily. But anyway, let's move along to number 2. I was just stunned by that. Number 2 would have been the fact that DJ Lagway did play, but he just handed off, and that was the plan, obviously. Look, Lagway's supposed to start throwing in June. His shoulder is going to be an issue. And look, I don't know very many people who have shoulder injuries who don't have recurrences of them at some point. This team's only going to go as far as DJ Lagway can take it. Now, I think they've got all the pieces around him now. It's just a matter of if he's in there. I will say this, Harrison Bailey played good. I thought Aiden Warner played good. But that's against a depleted defense in a spring game. I want to see what they can do in other games. But the bottom line is this is a DJ Lagway. It's his team. And what can he do? They've got the weapons. They need him healthy. And if he's not healthy, who knows where it could go? I mean, look, if anybody you know who has a shoulder injury, and I think, who was it last year that had it? I'm trying to remember which player it was. I think it was Trey Wilson. You have these shoulder injuries, and sometimes it's so bad you've got to do surgery. And what if that happens? So, look, we'll just see how it all goes with Lagway. But this team with Lagway will be in the playoffs. I'll just say that right now. Without Lagway, we'll not be in the playoffs. So we'll just see how many games he's able to play, or if he's able to play the whole season, or if he never makes it to the season. I think it's still up in the air. You know, people keep asking me that question on radio shows. Should we be concerned about DJ Lagway? Well, sure. You know, I'm concerned about everybody. Anybody could just step off a curb and twist their ankle and not be able to play. So, yeah, you got to be concerned. But when you have a shoulder injury, you know, it can be serious, and we'll just see how it goes. All right, let's get to number 3 on our Royal Blues starting 5, and that is baseball got the sweep that they needed. They had to have, to be honest with you. Missouri's terrible. They have not won a game in the division, or in the league, in the SEC. You could watch their games and see why they have not won. They made some bad errors, and the bottom line is they're not very good. I mean, when you're 0-15, you're not very good. So Florida had to get that sweep. And when you got the doubleheader on Saturday, you know, 7-inning games, anything can happen and when it gets that squirrely, but they were able to take care of business. And I thought that was really good. So maybe they've got the pitching all figured out. You know, they hit the ball pretty well in this series, but, I mean, they've got to do it against better pitching. They certainly have 4 games this week. We'll see how they do in those. And at Mississippi State, so that's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday That'll be a big series. Mississippi State just won a series against somebody, and I can't remember who. I was supposed to remember that, but I didn't write it down. Anyway, they won a big series this week. I think LSU, maybe? No, Auburn beat LSU. Maybe Tennessee. Somebody. They beat somebody in a series. Anyway, so that'll be a big – you need to win every series to host. So you probably need 8 more wins to have a chance to host. So let's get it done. 8 more SEC wins. Let's go. All right. That was baseball. Let's move along to the Masters on CBS. Now, it's my favorite time of the year because of the Masters. I enjoyed everything about it. I enjoyed Rory winning. I was rooting for him. I'm Irish, so I love Rory McIlroy, and I like him anyway as being the guy who stood up for the PGA Tour more than anybody. And it was pretty incredible. It was pretty incredible. 4 double bogeys he made and still won the tournament. That was amazing. But let me tell you what, you see all these guys like Patrick Reed and even Justin Rose, guys who played this course a lot and understand how you play it, and they're right up there. I mean, even Couples shot under par his first round. So with that big old tank of his he's got in the front now, oof. Fat man's revenge, calling guys fat. But it's just the best. To me, it's one of the best sporting events in the world, and I think it's the most fun to watch because there's something always going on. Let's go to 16. Let's go to 14. Let's go to 10. I guess maybe I have a special place for it because I was able to take my dad there. I was able to take my wife there. I was able to go there 9 times. I played the course. Every time they got to 15, I go, I birdied that hole. But it's just the best in the world, and I'm so happy. The emotion that Rory showed was incredible afterwards. And, like, I kind of get mad at golfers while I'm watching when they make an eagle and they just go, like, fingers up or something. They don't show any emotion, and that's the way golfers try to be. They try to bottle up that emotion, and you could just see 11 years of bottled emotions come out at once. It was so cool to see a guy show that kind of emotions. Kind of Ben Crenshaw-ish, but that was even more. That was the most emotion I've ever seen anybody after winning any golf tournament by far, and it was really cool. I thought it was great. All right. That is the thing. He hit 3 of the best shots I've ever seen. The one on 15, the hook shot. We had to hook the shot out of the woods and knocked it up close for eagle. The one on 17, where he was in the pine straw and hit an amazing shot out there close to the pin. And then the one on the first playoff hole, knocking it stiff, giving himself just that little 3-footer to win the tournament. 3 of the best shots, 3 shots you'll never forget. I know he'll never forget as well. All right, let's move to number 5 on our Royal Blue starting 5, and that is, as it always is on Monday, Bill and Christine Wendig present The Circle. Of course, they're our Boss Heart Realtors. We appreciate them. And every week they present The Circle, which is our look at softball. Softball took 2 of 3 from Ole Miss, and I thought they were going to get all 3. Didn't give up a run with Rothrock on the mound. But then was it the 4th inning or the 5th inning? They gave up a 5-spot grand slam. Did not go well there. They were this close to getting out of the inning and just couldn't get out of it. And then the grand slam happened, then a solo homer. So anyway, they still took 2 out of 3. They scored 28 runs in the series and only won 2 of the games, but that's a lot of runs. But Ole Miss can hit, and they hit really well. In fact, the first game was 8-7, but that was a big win to get that win. Florida's still in the mix. They're 2.5 games out of first. They're only a game out of second, I think. They're in the mix for all the things that they want to try to still accomplish, and just doing really good things. I still think this team has a chance to be really good. They just got to get Rothrock back to pitching the way she pitched last year, and these freshmen to come through. Ava Brown and Oxley both have to start coming through. on some of these other games. No midweek game for the women this week, and the reason is they're playing a Thursday, Friday, Saturday game, which the good news is that means you can watch it on the SEC network. And the bad news is you get no midweek game. So that'll be Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Florida is at home against Alabama. I feel like they're playing Alabama in every sport this week. But anyway, that is our Royal Blue starting five. We appreciate Randy Royal for all that he does for us. And I'm thinking about going over to Plaque and playing golf with him. I got to give him a call and see what he can get it done for us. But I've been really thinking about going over. I haven't played Plaque in a long time. That was a course I grew up on, so maybe I'll go over there and play with him. All right, that's going to do it for our Royal Blue starting five. We'll be back with Coach Spurrier when we return. After this break, you are watching or listening to another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. Here are just a few reasons why doing business with the Royal Blue puts you at the helm of your boating lifestyle. 1, the longer we have your listing, the lower percentage commissions you will pay. 2, survey reimbursement for qualified buyers. 3, detail reimbursement for qualified sellers. 4, on-the-water delivery orientation availability. Call us today to schedule a consultation to see what Royal Blue can do to solve all of your boating needs. Call Randy at 850-974-1294.
Great food, great atmosphere, a diverse menu, everything made from scratch, plenty of space, and locally owned. These are all the characteristics of a great restaurant, and you can find each and every one of them right here in Gainesville at Ballyhoo Grill. Ballyhoo Grill prepares all of their food fresh every day, from their salad dressing to their award-winning soups. Bring your family and enjoy dinner under the Tim Trebo Tiki Hut while listening to live music. Or if you're running low on time to eat out, they also deliver through Uber Eats, Bite Squad, and Postmates. A Gainesville staple that's been open for over 30 years. Check out Ballyhoo Grill on Facebook or at ballyhoogrill.com.
Meldon Law has been serving personal injury victims since 1971. In those days, Jeffrey Meldon's presence as an attorney in the music scene dubbed him with the nickname the Hippie Attorney. And although times have changed, two things haven't: our commitment to bettering our community by helping the injured,
Albert, are you ready to go to the game?
and our love for the Florida Gators.
If you bleed orange and blue, Meldon Law is the firm for you.
Okay, and welcome back to another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. Mm-hmm. And, of course, Coach Spurrier is sponsored by Meldon Law, and we appreciate him being sponsored by Meldon Law. And we always have fun with him on Mondays, on Meldon Mondays here. And, Coach, I don't know how much you saw of the spring game, but I watched most of it, and it was just nice to be at the stadium and on a perfect day, beautiful day.
Oh, a beautiful day and a lot of scoring. Fans like to see our team score. And our defense had some good plays here and there. I think they were maybe limited a little bit, coverages or things like that. I don't know. But, yeah, the offense really looked good. And DJ Lagway, now he didn't play, but those other two kids can throw the ball. Yep. And we got guys that can catch it too, and we certainly got guys that can run with it. One guy had almost 200 yards rushing. Yeah. So it was a nice game there. And, of course, at halftime, they brought out the national champ, Gator basketball team. So we honored those guys. And Scott Strickland made a nice talk. And it was, I think, a very nice function there for everybody.
It was good. It was a great day. God smiled on the Gators again. And the thing that I liked about watching this team, again, like you said, the defense there was a bunch of injuries and they didn't play a bunch of guys. But it feels like they've got more playmakers than they've ever had. They've got a lot at wide receiver. They've got a lot in the running back room. I think Duke Clark may end up being a really good player for them. And, of course, Jacoby Jackson went 90 yards for a touchdown. So, I mean, it just feels like they've got a lot of guys. So if they do have an injury, kind of like the basketball team did, when guys got hurt, they had other guys to step up. Yeah,
I guess we may have to sort of be afraid. I think that transfer portals opens up in 2 days, right?
Yep.
And Wednesday, they were talking about Nico, the Tennessee quarterback, and all this, that, and the other on most of the sports shows. So it'll be interesting to see who picks him up. But Tennessee, I think they did the right thing. They said, hey, we had a deal for 4 years, I think they had with him, and now he wanted to up in it. And they said, no, we're not going to do that. So they're looking for a quarterback. Tennessee, they've already admitted it. So many schools are. Basketball coaches are the same way. And it's just open season on everybody. Everybody's a free agent every year in all sports in college now.
They are.
So you'd think
coaches, assistant coaches.
Oh, you think they somehow would get together and let's have some rules here and go from there. But they haven't yet. So we're going to be in this till somebody changes the rules. I don't know who's going to do it.
Yeah, I don't either. And, you know, Congress has a lot of things to worry about. I mean,
yeah, they got a lot more to worry about.
We got a tanking stock market. They got to get that going back the right way. But, you know, I'm just curious what you would think about a school that would take a guy now, because we've seen the schools that he's considering who would take a guy like that into their culture. What does that say about their culture?
Could be true. Could be true. We'll just have to wait and see who does pick him up. But somebody also said, I'm surprised this finally happened in, what is this, the third or fourth year of
I
free
thought it would happen
free
earlier,
agency, 3 or 4 years and so forth. I'm hoping those quarterbacks we had firing it around Saturday, somebody doesn't give one of them a call. I mean, they're both about, 6'3" or 4", and can pass and move around pretty well. So that's Nebraska decided not to have a spring game because they didn't want to showcase some of their players that people didn't know about. Yeah. But anyway, it was an interesting week from national championship basketball through the spring game and the Masters yesterday.
Yep.
That had to be the highest-rated TV Masters of all time, the way that thing went back and forth.
It was unbelievable. Before we get to the Masters, I want to mention that Billy Napier did say after at his press conference that he's got they've already negotiated the deals with 98% of their team.
Okay, good.
So that means he said we don't have to worry about the portal, and the other one's going to get done, I guess.
Good.
But yeah, not now. You never know what it's going to be like in a month, or because guys have no restrictions. You know, they can just do whatever they want. But yeah, we've got to get some guardrails on this. We want to give the players money, but you got to have some guardrails on. All right, let's talk about the Masters. And it was, I watched, almost every shot that was hit at the Masters this year. I watched so much golf, and that certainly, the finale on Sunday was mind-blowing.
Yeah, the pressure on Rory McIlroy. He handled it pretty well, except a couple of little putts, and then of course that shot he hit on 13 into the water.
It was almost a shank.
Yeah, it must have hit it right on the toe, somebody said. But he bounced back. And made some unbelievable shots to win the thing. And he finally hit it about 1.5 feet on the last toe. But Justin Rose, he had that putt from coming down the hill. Last one. I told my wife, Jerry, I said, nobody I've ever seen make this putt. I think it's one, if you hit it straight, it'll go right.
Yeah.
If you hit it left, it stays left.
It stays left. Yeah.
This nobody makes that
and if
putt.
you hit it right, it stays right.
And
so.
he was putting out lights out. He knew it wasn't going to break right, but when he hit it at the hole, it slid a little right.
Yep. Well, and it was certainly, I wasn't rooting against him. I was rooting a little bit against DeChambeau because he's a live guy. But
I agree. Most people, a lot of
people
I
really
read
like
where
him.
they like him because he interacts with the fans and
yeah.
things like that. But the live guys, I don't think, I guarantee the regular tour guys we have, they certainly didn't want to see one of those guys win.
No, and apparently Rory and Bryson did not speak during the round.
Well, he doesn't speak much anyway.
Yeah.
Somebody said, hey, Tiger Woods never talks to anybody either.
No.
I mean, there's no rule that says be friendly with your competition. So, yeah, that was not that big a deal. But it was good TV, I will say that.
It was. And those two shots that he hit out of the pine straw in 15, it was just hitting a big hook. Which, you got to have a lot of faith in yourself to hit that
he hit
big
that
a
big
hook.
draw.
And then on 17, he hit it out of the pine straw and got it on the green close again. But, he's hit some amazing shots. And he's won with 4 double bogeys, which is amazing. Nobody's ever done that before. But I think he has a mastery over that course. And when he got through 10, because remember, what was it? 13 years ago, he goes to 10, and duck hooks it over to the cabins and ends up making triple, and that was the end of his round. So when he got through 10 and then he birdied, I think he birdied 11. Then I'm like, all right, he's ready to go. But then 13 came up. But it was great to watch and
it relieved a lot of pressure
Oh, gosh.
off Rory McIlroy. I think he had 3 majors like 11 years ago. So he's been trying 11 times to win that Masters and finally got it done this year.
I thought he was funny afterwards saying, yeah, what are we going to talk about next year? Can't talk about me not winning the Grand Slam, but that's pretty amazing. 6 guys that have won the Grand Slam.
Only 6.
Yep. I think it's Sarazen, Hogan, Nicklaus, obviously Tiger, and Player, I think, is the other 5.
Yeah, Gary Player's won them all.
Yeah,
6
which,
guys.
like Gary Player it's amazing because I've been around Gary before, and he's a little guy, man, but just he was so good.
Golfers used to be sort of little guys. 5'10", 5'11". Ben Crenshaw, I bet he was 165 pounds probably, 5'9", something like that. So, small guys have played golf very well.
I think I did a story one time, or it may have been Greg Larson, who was the king of the ideas, but he did a story about, and this was back in the 80s, there was no really good golfer over 6 feet. They were all under 6 feet. Yeah. And the theory was it gives you a lower center of gravity and you're not having to have as many moving parts. But, most guys you see, even now, are still pretty, they're not big, strapping, tall guys, but those guys are hitting the ball a lot further. So, I mean, McIlroy's probably like 5'11", right?
Yeah, he's not a real big guy, tall guy. But they all lift weights now a little bit, so they're stronger than the guys in the old days. But I don't think Nicklaus he wasn't a workout guy or weightlifting guy. He just naturally was strong.
He'd hit a lot of balls.
He could overpower.
Sometimes you just get strong from hitting balls that much.
Well, he was certainly, he had length and certainly knew how to win. Sort of what's amazing about his Grand Slams, of course, more than anybody else. I think 18. 19 times he lost by 1 shot.
I know.
19 times he was second, something like that. So he was always up there fighting for it. Yeah.
Yep. Still, I think the best golfer to ever play. I do. Let's go back to the basketball though, because we haven't talked to you since they won the national championship. Was Monday night. That was just crazy the way the game ended, and you're like freaking out. And of course, Gainesville was nuts. People were everywhere on University. I'm glad you weren't driving down University that night.
Monday night.
Monday night.
It was more crowded Monday night, I think, than the Saturday night before. But that's a memory of a lifetime for every Gator, and especially everybody associated with the team. So you can't do better than what they did. And I mean, the odds on winning that thing, I mean, when you look at all the teams that were in the final 16 or something, most of them had never won one. So it just, it is amazing to win one of those things.
Yeah, that's the funny thing is every time somebody would be picking the Gators to win, even on selection night, I'm like, pump the brakes, man. They got to win the first game first. I don't like to look ahead, but once they won that game against Auburn, you're like, oh, they're going to play for the Natty, man. Let's go get it. And just an amazing performance. And certainly, I thought it was really cool that they did that ceremony in the football stadium, because I mentioned this before. I said, would you rather have 50,000 people cheering for you or 10,000? I would rather have 50,000, even though it wasn't in the basketball arena, you know?
Yeah, I agree. It was a good crowd there. And they gave him a nice ovation, and it was well done.
You know, I was thinking about this, about ranking the 6 national championships, the 3 football and 3 basketball. Florida's the only school that has 6, or those 3. But then I thought to myself, no, it's like ranking your children. You know, I mean, they're all are great. I mean, the '96 one, I still tear up when I'm watching replays of it. You know, and obviously the 06 and 08 and the 06 and 07 basketball, they're all great. There's no point in ranking them.
No, you can't rank national championships. Hindsight, you know, you can look back in hindsight. In fact, Urban Meyer would tell you his 09 team statistically might have been better than the national champ team, but they they lost to Alabama, I think, in the SEC championship game. They went into it undefeated. The other years they went in with one loss and won the SEC game and then the national championship. So there's a lot of, ifs and if that one. And, of course, I'm always, when I look back on some of those teams that could have won it, but we didn't. Something happened. I have to look back and say in 96, we had to have all those other teams in front of us.
Right.
After we lost at FSU, they had to lose in front of us, and we still had to beat Alabama and FSU the second time, and it all worked out. So we count our blessings, and as Danny Warford, a lot of thank you, Lord games happened for us through that stretch. About 5 of them exactly.
Well, that's the funny thing about it is the year before, you might have had as good a team, maybe a better team, but you guys – you didn't have to play Nebraska in '96. That helped because Nebraska team was ridiculous.
That was statistically, Coach Osborne said the '95 Nebraska team was his best ever, but he can't say that out loud because he said all my other teams get mad at me.
Yeah.
So, but he says statistically they never had a close game. That bunch of guys, they were pretty good.
Yep, they
and
were.
we had sometimes it goes bad. And, the opening kickoff, I think one of our guys tore his knee up. And then a Gator died of a heart attack before the game started. Down in the first row, they stopped, and everybody's looking over there. It was
I remember that.
It was a bad night for all Gators.
And that was the night Quez dislocated his hip.
Yeah, running first kickoff back.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was just the only good thing was I could write at halftime because there was no sense waiting around.
Sometimes when you get beat by 3 or 4 touchdowns, you can't go back and say what if. You just they were just a lot better than us that night for sure.
Yeah, but you made up for it the next year, right?
Next year we got some breaks, got everybody healthy, and we were ready that last game. Mm-hmm.
Well, that's the first one of those 6. So
that was that was the first one. Yeah. And interesting enough, the football one, we're the last school to win it for the first time ever.
Yeah, that still stands.
Everybody since '96 had won before when they won their next one. So that just goes to show you they don't give those to everybody. There's just a few schools that can claim football and basketball national championships.
And to have just 3 of each is pretty amazing when you think about it.
Yeah, we got
and
3
the only
each.
school in the country
only
that
school
has
in the
that.
country.
Yeah. And it's just amazing to think to have gone through all this. This was the first national championship game I didn't attend. I'd been to all the football ones, all the basketball ones, and obviously didn't go to this one. But my daughter was there. She was representing us, so she did a good job.
Yep.
Brought it home.
Yeah, my daughter went out also.
You did? That's right. She did, yeah.
There was a plane going out of Orlando, I think, that she hopped on. So she was able to be there with the victory party in San Antonio.
Yeah, it was great. Everybody says that I've talked to says San Antonio should host every major event, that it's great. That
it is.
Riverwalk is unbelievable.
And the Alamo. Oh, yeah. The Alamo. Yeah, that's
right.
That's
the smallest famous place in America, I think. It's really kind of tiny. That's what I've been told. Anyway, I've never been there. All right, you got anything else for us, Coach? Oh, we could talk about gymnastics Thursday. Starts the national championship quest. Maybe we can get another natty there.
Yeah, our girls are very capable. Our young women gymnastics team is as good as anybody.
Yep.
And it's going to come down to 1 or 2 events and maybe the judges.
Yeah,
that's a judging sport. But we do have a very, very good women's gymnastics team. So looking forward to seeing what happens there.
Yeah, it's interesting. There's 5 SEC teams out of the 8 in the
Our
final.
baseball team won a doubleheader.
They did.
Beat Missouri all 3, and Missouri's a pretty good team. We were there. We honored my old buddy Alan Trammell.
Oh, yeah.
Former football player here. Alan drove in 8 runs in 1 inning, NCAA record against Kentucky here, way back in '65, and he Parkinson's disease got him about a year ago. But they let me take the microphone out and say a few wonderful words about Alan. His wife, his kids, grandkids were all there. So it was a nice event right before the game. And Coach Sully I thanked him for allowing us to go back and remember and honor a super Gator. I mean, this guy was really good in baseball and football, and we give him a little recognition.
I've
really
told
good.
people he may be the best two-way player that's ever played at Florida because
he easily could have been. He was instrumental. He was a holder for extra point field goals. He ran punts back, played defensive back.
I remember the pick six against FSU.
Pick six. I mentioned that in my talk. I said, obviously, the record he set in baseball will, in likelihood, never be broken. But maybe his glory day was in football. FSU had actually beaten us a year before, they came to our place, and we got ahead, but only by about 3 or 4, something like that. And he got a pick six on about the next to last play of the game to put the thorn in the side or the nail in the coffin. That's what you call it.
You'd hit Charlie Casey on the play that took him ahead.
A little out and up, got us ahead.
And they were trying to come down, and they threw it.
About midfield.
He caught it. Ran it all the way back.
The distance.
I was there at that game, believe it or not. That's how old I am. But I remember cheering like
that. Was probably his last game in the swamp.
It was,
65.
It wasn't called the swamp then.
No.
We had to wait for you to come back.
Called the swamp.
And name it.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, Coach. Appreciate it. And we always enjoy your time here. And we do have to get to our play of the week. And, of course, the play of the weekend came from the spring game is brought to you by Campus USA.
It's like the quarterback out of the pistol, hands it off to Jackson.
Now, you don't see many of these. 90-yard runs for a touchdown.
Man, he came out the wide.
He did.
I think it's a linebacker chasing.
Yeah.
He said, "What am I doing chasing? Where's the other guys?"
That's like when Gusty Yearout ran that fumble back, and you started chasing him, and you said Richard Trapp came up by you. You said, "Go get him, Dickie."
Trapp was running by me so fast. I said, "Go get him."
But
he couldn't catch him.
You know what it did? It reminded me of that Emmitt Smith run against Mississippi State the year before you got here, and it was the same kind of play where he's in a pile, and all of a sudden he comes out of it, and nobody can catch him. Yeah. So that was our Campus USA play of the weekend. Jacoby, what's his nickname? He's got a nickname. It's called Cheese something or something. Cheese Jack. Jack Cheese. That's what it is. Jack Cheese is his nickname. So Jacoby Jack Cheese Jackson. All right, coaches, we'll get out of here, and we'll be back with Robbie Andrew to do Yes, No, Where, Maybe. This is another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging from the Meldon Law Gator Studios.
Titan MRI, North Central Florida's premier independent diagnostic testing MRI facility. At Titan MRI, we're focused on you, the patient, having a great customer experience. Our MRI equipment is modern and 75% quieter than any unit in its class. And our MRI unit has one of the largest openings of any of the newer high-strength MRI units, which allows comfortable scanning for potential claustrophobic and larger patients. At Titan MRI, we look forward to serving you.
Hey, let's talk about something that's been a real game changer for many people, including me. BMI TeleMed is one of our sponsors. They're the weight loss specialists and can help you tackle that stubborn belly fat. You know, the kind that usually creeps up once you hit your 40s. Bob Parado and Charlie Gonzalez, 2 UF-trained pharmacists, work with their medical director to prescribe and deliver the same meds that helped me lose 50 pounds. Yep, 50 pounds. That belly fat, it's not just about looks. It's unhealthy and makes you feel sluggish. So now's the time to do something about it before spring and summer roll around. If you're anywhere in Florida, BMI TeleMed, simple online telehealth platform makes it easy. Your weight loss meds get delivered right to your door fast. From my experience, you feel full sooner, eat less, but can keep enjoying the foods that you love, just in smaller portions. Plus, it helps with blood sugar and cravings. Do yourself a favor, head to bmitelemed.com to set up a free private consultation. No obligations, no contracts. These Gators know their stuff. You'll look better, feel better, and be healthier. Visit bmitelemed.com today. Adams Rib Company has been a staple of Gainesville for more than a decade and a staple of the Dooley house ever since Kelsey's teeth came in. The first time I walked into Adams, I told my daughter that the green beans are always a test of a great barbecue restaurant, and they were perfect. You know about the ribs that melt in your mouth, and my favorite, the turkey plate. But be sure to go in on Fridays for Nana's Fish Nuggets. They will melt in your mouth. Adams Rib Co., A Gainesville great. Okay, welcome back to another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI and Imaging from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. We had a connection problem with Robbie. We're not sure what happened there, whether it was on our end or his end, but we did talk on the phone, and I got his yes, no way, or maybe. And, of course, it's brought to you by Big Mills Cheesesteak, street dining done the right way. If you go to Big Mills and say, hey, I listened to Pat Dooley say Robbie Hindrew's answers on the podcast, you get free French fries with your order. Appreciate Big Mills and Keith Miller over there so much. Okay, the questions I gave to Robbie, number one was, Rory's reaction made you emotional. And Robbie's reaction was, yes, it did, because it felt like it was such a mental challenge. And I look, I've never been in anything like that where you have that kind of mental challenge on you and it comes out, it just pours out of you after that. And Robbie did say he also got a little emotional when he saw Shane Lowry, his best friend, and they hugged, and that hug was pretty cool. So definitely Robbie I knew Robbie would say yes to that question because he does get emotional sometimes. There were some tears when Florida won the national title, I'll tell you that. I want that on the record. Okay? There might have been some for me too, but I cry at everything. All right, number two question for Robbie was, on yes, no, where, maybe was, the spring game made you more excited about Florida football in 2025, and it was an enthusiastic yes. He's a big believer in what they're doing. The roster, as he said, looks like the kind of roster you would be proud of, and he mentioned the wide receiver room as well. That room is really stacked. There's no question. This is kind of the stuff I said earlier, but there's no question that this is a great chance for Florida to do some good things this year. There's no doubt about it. All right, and number three on yes, no, way, or maybe for Robbie Andrew, you're good with the Twins sending down Jose Miranda. Now, for those of you who don't know, he is a player who on – I guess it was Saturday or Sunday, they had a double play ball. Guy didn't touch second base. He didn't even come near it. And look, that does happen a lot. I will say this. It does happen a lot where they don't come near it, but this umpire called him safe. He didn't realize it, turned around, walked away. They tagged him. So he's out, and they sent him down. Now, he was not considered to be anything special anyway, but Robbie was okay with it, I'll tell you that. If he can't just do the fundamental things, and I agree. It is kind of embarrassing now. All right. That is our abbreviated version of Yes, No, Where, maybe brought to you by Big Mills Cheesesteak. We love our Big Mills Cheesesteak, and we'll get that problem resolved with Robbie's situation as well. We'll take the blame for it because we don't want Robbie to think he's being blamed for anything. All right. Let's move along to our Adams Ribco Gator of the Weekend. Speaking of that area of town, because Adams Ribco is right next to Big Mills Cheesesteak. And we appreciate both of them very much. In fact, I'm going to go to lunch with Adam on Wednesday. And we may go to my first place will be Adams is where we need to go, but we may go somewhere else. Anyway, our Adams Ribco Gator of the Weekend, a lot to choose from, obviously, with all that's going on. I decided on Aiden King. Aiden King, of course, freshman pitcher from Jacksonville. They need him to be a second starter. Now, he didn't come here thinking he was going to be the second starter, but with Coppola's injury, he's even been the number one starter when Liam Peterson was hurt too. But they need him to be really good and in a hurry, grow up in a hurry. And he's done that pretty much all year. Certainly did it Saturday, first game of the doubleheader against Missouri. Had pitched a shutout for 5 1/3, and they held it onto that shutout, and that's why he is our Aiden King is our Adams Ribco Gator of the Weekend. Right now, his record is 4-1 with a 2.68 ERA. Those are pretty good college numbers. 44 strikeouts, 12 walks. It's not that hard, guys. If you throw strikes, you get people out. If you throw balls, you usually don't. Aiden King gets it, and I'm glad he does. And he is our Adams Ribco Gator of the Weekend. Let us move along to our Leonardo's at Millhopper Quick Pick. This will be your last chance to qualify. On Thursday, we will make a pull for $25 at Leonardo's of Millhopper. Was just in there the other day. Actually had lunch there the other day. It was really good, as it always is. All right. Let's give you, well, we got NBA playoffs, so let's give you an NBA playoff game. How about it's a 10 o'clock Tuesday game. You got plenty of time to get it in. Don't say, oh, I don't listen till Wednesday. You got plenty of time to get it in. 10 o'clock Tuesday, Memphis at Golden State. That should be interesting, to say the least. I'm looking forward to it. I won't be up for that. You think I'm going to? I couldn't barely stay up for basketball game. It started at 8:50. You think I'm going to watch an NBA game? It starts at 10. But you have to make a pick. Your last chance to qualify: Memphis at Golden State. All right, let's move along to our Gallo Car Wash Sponge of the weekend. And our Sponge of the weekend came from softball. And we appreciate all of our great softball team. And again, they took 2 out of 3 on the road. That's never anything wrong with that. But this catch that was made by Taylor Shoemaker is why she's the Sponge of the week, because this is an 8-7 game right now. 8-7. Boom! Gets up there and takes it away. Spongy. That is 2 out in the bottom of the 6th, or 1 out in the bottom of the 6th when she does that. And they hold on for the 8-7 lead. She does it all. This girl is just ridiculous how good she is. And just a freshman. But this was certainly helps when you got somebody who can go up over the wall and catch the ball. So she is our Sponge of the week, brought to you by Gallo Car Wash. We move along to our Leonardo's Smooth Move of the week. Leonardo's Tequila, Go Beyond. And we appreciate Leonardo's. Our Smooth Move of the week is basically exactly what you would think it was, which is Florida moving or having the celebration for the basketball team in the football stadium. Now, it was smooth because when you did that, that increased your football attendance, and that's a good move. You ended up with over 50,000 people there, and it was a big crowd. There were people jammed in. But it was smooth because you weren't playing your quarterback except for handing the ball off, and you wanted people to celebrate basketball. This was a perfect thing. It was a very smooth move, and I agreed with it. I know some people didn't agree with it. They thought it should have been at the football stadium or the basketball arena, but I was fine with where it was. I thought it was pretty cool. All right. Let's move along to our Hugh Cain Allstate Mayhem moment. The Gator Nation is in good hands with local Allstate agent Hugh Cain. Stop by Alachua Marketplace Plaza in Alachua and get a free quote today. This is the Hollywood Golf Club where they're all watching the Masters, and that is the home club for Rory McIlroy. I want to be a member of the Hollywood Golf Club. I would imagine the entry fee is pretty high. I bet you that course is pretty nice because I've known guys who were, pros on the tour, and their home courses, they would shave it down when you were getting ready to go play Augusta or somewhere like that. But they certainly enjoyed it when he made that last putt, as did I. I was happy for Rory to get that. And again, I wasn't rooting against Justin Rose, good dude as well. Certainly showed class as well. But that is our Hugh Cain Allstate Mayhem moment. Appreciate Hugh Cain, of course. All right, let us move along to our BMI TeleMed Overachiever of the weekend. BMI TeleMed, your medical weight loss place to go. Achieve and maintain at BMI TeleMed. The number to call, 727-383-1677. I am on it right now on semaglutide, and as well as many of the people who listen to the show because I've called them and gotten in there. So the BMI TeleMed Overachiever of the weekend is Harrison Bailey. Now the reason it's Harrison Bailey is Harrison Bailey has played against Florida before. He was awful. He was sacked 5 times in the game. When I heard Florida was getting him, I'm like, him? No. Well, look, I watched this guy play Saturday, and that's my only sample size of him. I may go back and watch some other games, like the Louisville Bowl game where he played really well. He looked the part. Now, I think with him and Werner both, they feel better about that position, but Lagway's still got to be the guy. But at least I feel like they're not in a miserable situation if something happens. Because Bailey is definitely a lot better than the guy we saw the last time we saw him. All right, that is our BMI TeleMed Overachiever of the week. And we appreciate them very much. Let's move along to our Gainesville Quarterback Club. And we'll talk about that. We still don't have a date. I think we'll get it this week. Maybe I'll be able to give it to you Thursday on when Coach Napier is going to speak to the club. Can't wait for that. And don't forget, you can join for that speech, for Laura Rutledge, and for Billy Donovan for a trial membership, $250. Very easy to get in. And just call me. Give me a call. Send me an email. I'll get it straightened out for you. PatrickDooley54@gmail.com, which is also where you send the winners that you're picking for the Leonardos at Millhopper Quick Picks. Okay. That is our Gainesville Quarterback Club. Let's get to Hesser and Kipke, 3 things, brought to you, of course, by our great friends at Hesser and Kipke, attorneys at law, 352-339-9920, the number to call, or reach them at www.hklaw.fl, or not hklawfl.com. Okay, on our Hesser and Kipke 3 things, let's go with number 1. And number 1 is a terrible story of Kyron Lacey, who just a couple of weeks ago was in in their pro day at LSU. He was, now don't forget, he was under arrest or indictment for a felony. And I don't know what happened here for sure. All I know is a self-inflicted gun wound, and he was in a car chase with the cops. And just a sad, sad story. This guy's a talented player, but just didn't have his head on straight. I mean, remember he quit the team at one point because he just wanted to go pro. That's all he wanted to do. But again, I don't know Kyron Lacey. I didn't know Kyron Lacey. I saw his dad put out something really interesting on Facebook, I think it was, just saying, man, it's so hard, but you got to talk to your kids and get through to them. And I guess he's basically saying, I couldn't, but you got to keep trying. Anyway, it's a real tragedy. Kyron Lacey dead at such a young age. Let's go to number 2 on Hesser and Kipke Street Things, which is the Nico story. Nico Iamaleavin is what he should be called. It's a story that everybody's talking about and how it's going to change college football. Don't forget, there was a guy just this season, at UNLV, Skluba, I think his name was their quarterback, and they were off to a great start. He says, I didn't get my NIL money, I'm quitting. So he's walked away from it. So that was kind of the first time something like this happened. Of course, we dealt with Rashada and all the promises that were made or not made there, and we'll see where that ends up. But this is another example of the entitlement that these players feel. And families are always an issue for coaches. You love people that have great families. They're never a problem. You treat them the right way. But there are people, and this is a long line of them, who just think they're the star of the team and they're parents. You got agents involved here. I'm sure there's been terrible poaching going on here. Transfer portal opens up again Wednesday, and he'll be in it. And now where he's going to go? USC, I wouldn't be surprised. That sounds like a Lincoln Riley kind of move. UCLA, I mean, they're desperate. Notre Dame, that doesn't feel Notre Dame-ish to me. And then North Carolina, which would make a lot of sense too. You think Bill Belichick cares about whether he's poaching a guy from Tennessee? No. We'll see what happens there, but it is. We'll see what the impact is. Because to be honest with you, all these people that say, "Oh, this is a seminal moment for college football right now," I don't think it is. I think it's just one guy. Now, if other guys start to demand more, you're going to have a problem. Well, you hope you built the culture of your program. And like I said earlier, 98% of Florida's guys have agreed to their NIL deals, and this is what they're going to get. And if they play better, they'll get a better one next year, but they're not going to get it this year. It's just there is a potential for disaster here. But I'm just going to hope it's just a one-time deal. But I probably know better than that. Finally, on number 3 on Hesser and Kipke's 3 things, the playoffs are getting ready to start. And the Dubs, my Warriors got into the play-in game. We'll talk about that in a minute again. But I don't watch hardly any NBA, so I still call them my Dubs. Because I do root for the Warriors, and I root for the Bulls because of Billy Donovan. But playoff basketball I do like. But I don't like it till the fourth quarter. So, you just kind of flip on what's the score now. Okay, I'll go back. Well, like 6 minutes to go is when I want to start watching. That's when it gets really good. But we'll see how it goes. It's going to be a lot of playoff basketball to talk about. All right, that is our Hesser and Kipke 3 things. Let's wrap it up. I'm running late, aren't I? Let's wrap it up with our Swamp Games of the Week. We've got a few for you, and that includes basketball, of course. I mentioned earlier that the Memphis Golden State game is on at 10 o'clock on TNT. This is on Tuesday. Tuesday earlier in the night, Atlanta at Orlando. So a lot of Magic fans out there, I'm sure. You can watch that game at 7:30 on TNT. These are playing games. The other ones are Wednesday, Miami at Chicago, 7:30 on ESPN. Dallas at Sacramento is the 10 o'clock game on ESPN. Gator baseball Tuesday is playing Stetson. It is on SEC Plus. If you have SEC Plus, they're playing at home against Stetson. Sorry, they already played at Stetson. Stetson's tough. I mean, that's a game that'll sharpen your tools. Right? There's no doubt about it. And then softball is playing. I did want to mention that because they're playing. That Thursday game is a 6 o'clock game, and it is on the SEC network, so you can watch that game on, I don't know, what do you call that? Cable TV? Or it's not regular TV, but everybody's got the SEC network. Anyway, those are our Swamp Games of the weekend. Boy, what a weekend they had last week. I imagine it was the same this weekend. But, man, they have been I got to go talk to Ryan and see how great things are going. In fact, Chandler Parsons was doing his podcast, and he was talking about this swamp, and now he at one time had a stake in it. So, and of course, his brother was hanging around there a lot. Anyway, we'll talk to Ryan about that soon. All right, that's going to do it for the show. Thanks so much to everybody. Sorry about that glitch we had with Robbie. Hopefully we can get that resolved. We'll figure it out one way or the other. And then appreciate Zach for doing a great job putting up with me. We'll get out of here. I am Pat Dooley. I am deep. I am way back, and I am out of here.